เด็กๆไหมคะ How are you อาจารย์ปิยชัด
ค่ะอยู่ค่ะอาจารย์
How is everything I don't know what happened at your end ทุกคนไหวไหมคะ ไม่ทราบเหมือนกัน
น่าจะนะคะ I think it's everyone is okay and
Yeah.
getting back getting back from lunch.
So this semester is completely online for you guys.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, but I mean, my university is on site already. So,
I mean is that the PhD program for us is online, but for my university, it's on site at the moment.
I see. So it means that your program will be completely online.
Yes, because
no matter what. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct because some of our students from China and from Myanmar, they are not ready to enter Thailand. So that's why it is a must for us to carry on their online classes for them.
But is that what you planned to begin with? You didn't plan it to be that way, right?
I think we are going to have them with us at the campus very soon, maybe the second semester of this year. I think Chinese students and also Burmese, they are coming to study with us at the PU campus from the second semester onwards.
Oh, okay. So, but for your undergrads, they are back to campus.
That's correct. Yes.
How was the situation? How is the COVID situation over there?
I'm not really sure in Myanmar, but in China, what about in China? Yeah, Lin.
How about China?
And at the end of the year, our country will be open, and now we are a little strict.
I see. Where are you right now, Wang Yili? Where are you? 在哪？
绥化黑龙江 province. 黑龙江 province. Northeast of China.
Northeast.
The coldest province in China.
Buriram is not east of Thailand, the hottest.
Yeah.
Hottest in Thailand, I guess. That's a big difference. Yeah.
I see. How about Mary? Mary is a good student, you know. She participated in everything, right? I mean, Mary is always a good student. She works so hard. How is everything in Myanmar right now? Are you back to school?
Yes, teacher. Our university reopened again on site.
So, well, studying and working, that's very demanding anyhow. Anyway, okay. Right, so I can start, right? Okay.
Yes, so welcome back to the special lecture on current perspective, sociolinguistic and ELT, theory, practice, research by Professor Dr. Budsaba. It's still with us, and this afternoon, in the morning section, we have learned about the language variation and language every gender bias. So now let's hear from her. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Dr. Budsaba, please.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, you see my slide? Do you see?
Yes.
Yes, Professor.
Okay. Right, thank you. So back to the 5 items, right? So as you can see that the 5 items that I showed you before the lunch break, actually 2 of them are good. So there is no need to change anything. But these are the 3 sentences that will be considered gender bias. And as you can see that the way to fix it, it's so easy. Just change, singular to plural, like all members in the audience cast their ballots for the MP award, or experienced politicians choose there. Or the last one, nowadays teachers have to be more careful with their students. So this is at a very simple level. What we do then, we just, fix, by using grammatical devices, changing from singular to plural. And because of this, we have no option, just only use there, which is, a collective pronoun there, right? But you know what? Things are not that easy. As we mentioned before the lunch break, right? For example, chairman, chairwoman, or chairpersons, or chair. Well, these are the lexical choices that we can use to get rid of gender bias. It's not that easy. So let's take a look at the language or the next slide, right? Now, English is real sexism. That's another word. So English is bias, or English is also sexism, right? Now, what are the evidences? The evidences are in these lexical items like the word headmaster. I know for those of you who work at school, you see that nowadays there are many headmasters who are ladies. So these words are no longer valid now. Male, manager, monk, nephew, waiter, dad, husband, god. I use the actually earl and countess here, prince and patron. So as an English language teacher, we know that these terms are lexically biased. Can you come up with a term that these are all male terms? So as I said, English is really male dominant, right? What would be the term you use to refer to the ladies in these positions then? How about headmaster? What would be the one equivalent for female? What would you say? Go ahead. Any volunteers? Any suggestions for headmaster?
How we call like female headmaster, is that right?
Yeah, we call it headmaster, but it only, you see that? Look at the word headmaster. It refers to only orผู้ชาย, only male, and females were excluded. And we don't want this to happen because we now know that English is not expected to be sexist, right? So what is the opposite term for this to refer to female?
Headmistress.
Yeah.
Okay, see that? You say headmistress. How about male?
Female.
Female.
Okay, manager becomes any try? Okay, let's stop.
Manageress.
Manageress. Okay, sounds good. How about monk?
None.
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 Okay. Nephew.
Needs.
Need.
Okay, niece. Waiter.
Waitress.
Waitress.
Okay, good. Dad.
Mom.
Mom.
Very American when you say mom. Everyone says American. Husband.
Wife.
Wife.
God.
Goddess.
Goddess. Right. This one is different. That's why I provide the answer earl, and the opposite is countess.
Countess.
Right. Prince.
Princess.
Princess.
Patron. Just guess.
Patronage.
We are not supposed to create new terms or new words. Like that. We're not supposed to create new ones. We should use the one that already exists. So here's the answer. Let's take a look, right? From headmaster becomes headmistress. Male and female, manageress, nun, niece, waitress, mom or mom, wife, goddess, countess, princess, patroness. But let's take a look at the word headmistress. Are you okay with that then? Are you really okay with the word headmistress, even though it's correct that master become mistress? But you know what? It doesn't read right and it doesn't sound right. Why? Why?
That's another meaning of the word.
Master, mistress, yeah, it's a female term for master, but somehow, what happens to the language then? The value. If you call someone headmistress, people will frown and say, wait a minute, who are you? Mistress? Why? Because the word mistress has a very bad connotation, right? It means like, a secret wife, ใช่ไหมคะ a secret wife. So that's why the language doesn't work well that way, even though these are the terms that exist in order to counterbalance, you know, the gender bias, but it doesn't work that way, and people still hesitate to use these words, right? And that's why, but above all, what do these words mean to us? It means that we still honor male that comes first. We still believe if we have headmaster and we got headmistress, it means that this one comes first. We have male and then we got female later. It means male comes first, which is really not true, because it doesn't mean that males are always before women. And that's why this strategy is called lexical strategies to handle gender bias. As you see that the previous one, sorry, this one we use grammatical devices of, you know, grammar to add s here and there to counterbalance the gender bias. But this one we use the lexical items, right? We use these lexical items to get rid of sexism, but it still doesn't work that way. Maybe we need to use both then. There is also a set of language or lexical items that we learned when we were young, like cow, countess, horse, hostess, lion, lioness, mare, mareess, right? See, some of them is a doesn't look good, like priest, priestess, steward, stewardess. That's why the language is ongoing, and we are not very happy with the way it is. One, it doesn't sound right, because it sounds like the masculine terms are the basis of feminine terms, which is not right either. Right? Duke, Duchess, God, Goddess, Hunter, Huntress, Tiger, Tigress, Prince, Princess. So we are not quite happy with that. Next. And then we have this like fisherman, fisherwoman. That sounds odd. Stepson, stepdaughter. Okay. Peacock, peahen. That sounds a bit bad. So these are the words, you know, that still, even though we're trying to get rid of, you know, sexism, but these words don't work well that way either, right? Now, what is next then? The next one that I want to be sure that as a teacher, you need to be very sensitive to the language you use, because male and female are quite distinct as far as the language is concerned. Now, people say that men and women don't use the same language. Agree or not? Men and women don't use the same language. Well, you might not be aware of, but exactly the answer is yes, male and female don't use the same language. The next question is, how do you know, right? For example, right, in British English, if I say the word, then tell me then who will use it, male or female? Oh, lovely, isn't it? Now, lovely. Who will use this word, male or female?
Male.
Lovely.
Female. Female.
Yeah, the answer is very likely the people who use the word lovely will be female, because guys don't say lovely. If they say it, then we have to think twice. Maybe they are not guys anymore. Okay, now, cuss, right? Okay, people when they are upset, they cuss, they curse, but who are likely to cuss more than the other?
Female.
Female.
You
Yeah.
think female cuss more than guys?
think
คัสคือ
male.
คำด่านะคะพรุสวาทนะคะ
Oh, same. Both.
Right?
Maybe.
For example, when you drop the book on the floor, you will say, oh my God. You say, oops. This is what the girls would say, right? When they drop something. But if the guys drop something, shit. Sorry to say. Am I right? Right? So normally, vulgar language, you know, cussing or bad language usually produced by guys, right? How about emotional language? Oh, awesome.
Female.
Female.
Absolutely female.
Yeah. Females are very emotional in usually, right? They express their feelings, you know, and they don't, you know, cover their feelings. some grammatical and constructions as well. So why don't we take a look then at some language examples, right? To show you that male and female are very distinct. And tell me whether you agree with it or not. Okay, what women say and what women mean are very different. Is that true? Those of you who are married like me may say, I'm not tired. What does it mean? I am very tired. Right? Is that what the women say and what the women mean? Right? So you have seen this in dramas and in movies and in textbooks and in novels. For example, right, when the woman say, I'm fine. I'm fine. What does she mean? I'm upset. I'm angry. Right? Is that true? Ladies in this class?
Yes.
Especially with your husband.
Yes.
Agree? Silence.
Agree.
True?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you are laughing because that's what you're doing too, right? Huh?
Yes.
And I think your husband understand. That's why otherwise your husband would get upset, you know, not understanding what you mean. I'm over it. I'm over it. No, I'm not over it. And I want the whole world to know my problem. That's the girl. Right. The guy said, what do you want to do, honey, this weekend? Just do what you want. Is that what you mean? No, it means that don't you dare do what you are planning to do because I have plans for that. Okay. Next. Honey, where are you? We have to go for a wedding. And then your husband call, where are you? Where are you? I'm on my way. I'm on my way. No, I'm currently sitting in my bath towel ค่ะยังทาปากอยู่เลยค่ะ See? Do you mind if I go out? I don't mind. Female say, a woman say, I don't mind. Oh, I do mind very much, right? I have nothing to say to you. I have a lot to say to you. You better talk and you better sit down and talk. We need to talk. You need to listen. Is that true? When you say to your husband, we need to talk. Actually, guys don't talk. Women talk and guys listen. I'm really busy right now. Means what? I don't want to date you. I'm not mad. I am mad. Do you think she's pretty? Now you go shopping. Look at that girl. You think she's pretty? What you want to the husband to do is that, oh, she's not pretty. You are the most beautiful lady on earth, right? Maybe means no. We will see means no. And what do you want to eat? Up to you. Of course, it's up to me. So this is what has been, research and agreement. I mean, the findings agree that, yeah, women don't say what they mean. So guys need to be very careful when hearing what women say because they don't mean what they say, right? That's one story. Now the next one. Now it's a challenge for you. I want you to work on these items. These are the 5 sentences. And I'm going to go over, there are some linguistic features or some language use that indicate that this sentence is likely to be used by a female or male. Okay, so let's take a look at this one, at the first one. That jacket is kind of big on you, isn't it? That jacket is kind of big on you, isn't it? Now, work on it and tell me whether you think it's a female or male, and I'll come back to this later. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, need some help with that. Need some help with that? Male or female? Number 3, I just love Texas. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, male or female? Number 4, oh shoot, I don't know you remember, but today is Anne's birthday. Okay, and the last one, that guy's a jerk. That guy is a jerk. Okay, well, just No, say whether no one is likely to be said by a male or female. That's it. 1 minute. Not only that, then, after you identify the answer, you need to support your answer by linguistic evidence. What makes you think so? Okay? There must be something that, triggers you to conclude that this is could be the sentence spoken by a feminine or by a guy or by a woman. There must be some reasons there. Okay. You done?
Yes. I don't know.
Okay, good. Right. I hope everyone's done.นะคะ? You don't need an application, so just work on this, and I will ask you for help then. Number 1, that jacket is kind of big on you, isn't it? You think this one, the one who says is a male or female?
Male.
Male.
Okay, 2 people say male. How about the others?
I think
Male.
female.
Yes, male.
I think
agree
female.
with that.
Male.
I think female.
Female.
Well, now 2 answers then. Of course, only one answer is right. Let's move on to number 2. Need some help with that?
Male.
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 Okay. This one is quite clear. You are, quite unanimously said it. It's male. Number 3. What is it?
Female.
Female.
Yeah. I hope you have the answers for me.นะคะ, why or what make you think so? Okay. Next card. Oh shoot. I don't know if you remember what.
Male. Male.
It's
Okay.
female.
I hope you have evidence. And the last one, guy, is a jerk.
Female.
Female.
Jerk.
Male.
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 Very interesting. Okay. I think it's, some answers can be debatable, but let's put the finger on the first one. That jacket is kind of big on you, isn't it? For those of you who think it's a male, why? Actually, this one is very clear. For the answer is clear, but I want to know why do you think it's a male? What makes you think so?
Can I share?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think this is by male because he spoke. Is concerned about the correct of the English construction and grammar, right?
Okay, but I'm sure that there are some people here who said it's spoken by a female. What is your point and what is your reason? Anyone?
For me, I think it's a male because of sometimes male cannot speak directly to the woman that her shape is big, so they avoid to speak like that. That's for me.
Okay, so both of them still work for a male. Anyone goes for a female?
I just want to try.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead. Wang Yili.
I think it's a female because female sometimes express themselves in an indirect way, and but as a male, maybe they just express their meanings directly and clearly, and female always maybe in their words have they just have some implicit meaning.
Okay, right. Okay, anyone wants to support the answer of female? Yeah, go ahead.
I explain more about male, right? Because I see the word of big, right? Big is so clear. So a guy or a male always tell clear things, right?
Well, okay, there is an answer to that. This one is clear. I would say that this one is spoken by a female. No, but I have reasons then. Well, I think, when they say female and female, it's a very dichotomy, and there is nothing like that because sometimes the female can be quite tough as well. But very likely, this sentence is spoken by a female. Why? First of all, This is what is called. What do we call this part?
Question tag.
Yeah, it's a tag question. Normally, guys don't use the tag question. Guys don't. If the guys use the tag question, likely he's not a guy anymore. Okay? So เช่นผู้หญิงอร่อยจังเลยนะ let's go and eat, shall we? อย่างนี้เป็นต้น so usually female will use the tag question even though she didn't mean to ask at all. That's number one evidence. But as I said, you cannot say it's right or wrong. It depends on many contexts, but potentially this is a female because it has a tag question. Number two, kind of. Kind of is a linguistic feature, and the name for it is called hedging. Have you known the word hedging? Hedging. This is called a hedging device. It means kind of, means sort of, right? Kind of, it's a bit. So kind of means that express a degree of a little bit hesitancy. And usually girls always use hedging devices. It's kind of beautiful. It's kind of big. It's kind of nice. No, it's sort of. Are you hungry? Sort of, right? Are you tired? A bit. So girls are very, they are very fond of hedging. So these are the two things that I said. Well, if we have to conclude, then very likely tag question and hedging combined lead me to the discussion that I think it's likely to be a female. Okay, right. Now let's move on to the second one. Need some help with that? I think some says guys and some says girls. What do you think then? Guy or girl? Who wants to give me evidence to convince me that my answers your answers is right? Anybody?
This question I think is Guy will say that because it's the direct meaning and direct question. Yes. So mostly I think Guy will use that question, that sentence. Yeah, direct sentence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I think because is the guys normally tend to not be too polite than girls. If girls want to say, would you need some help with that? Then we say more polite.
Okay, good discussion. Well, tentatively or potentially, this one is likely to be spoken by a guy in this context. Now, my reason is that usually guys don't use complete sentences. If we compare then men and women tend to use complete sentences more than guys. But as I said, this is potentially because it's out of the context. So in this one, you see that, need some help with that? That is not a complete structure. And see that there is no flowery language. There is no flowery language. It's just, straight and right to the point, as Kun Patanan just said. So I would say that I would go for male. Okay, number 3. I just love Texas. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Female.
What do you think then, this one?
Female.
Female.
I think this one is clear, right? That it's female. But as I said, as a linguist, you need to convince me using evidence. What makes you think so?
The emotional sound.
Okay. What is it then? What makes it emotional? Which one is emotional?
I see the one.
Absolutely.
Love.
Good
Absolutely gorgeous.
Absolutely. I think girls are more exaggerated, dramatic.
Right. And you are very right. Number 3 is clearly spoken by female for many reasons. 1, see that guys don't use the word love sparingly. They use love when they mean love. I love you, right? But the guys say, I just like Texas. I like Texas, but not love. So in that case, yes, right. Women are very emotional and they are very expressive and they are sometimes a bit exaggerating. They like it, but they say, oh, I love Texas, right? with the body language. And I love Texas. So love clearly is a keyword. Next, you are right. Gorgeous. Usually when a guy say you are gorgeous, it refers to a girl, right? If you have a party to go and oh, look at you, you are gorgeous. The guy will admire the girls, when she's well dressed. Oh, you look gorgeous. But this one is not a girl, it's absolutely, that's another word, right? Very dramatic, very expressive, and very emotional, right? So if this is clearly, it's spoken by a girl. I love Texas, it's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, good job. Okay, next card, next one. Oh, shoot. I don't know if you remember, but today is Anne's birthday. Very likely. This one is harder.
Cruelly.
Male or female?
Male.
Male. Why?
Male.
Because he used like cruel words, right?
What is that word?
Should.
Okay, well, interesting then. This one, the rest has nothing to do, but I think the word oh should, right? This is sort of like an exclamation, right? An exclamation. This one, I'm not very sure. It could be sort of, I would say normally, oh should, I would say it as a female. I would say oh should, because the guy oh damn, like damn it. Guys will be cussing more, stronger than it. Damn it! Sorry to say, but I think this is more like potentially could be a oh should, okay, but a little bit problematic. How about the last one? That guy is a jerk. What do you think?
Last one definitely I think is a girl.
Female.
Female said.
Yes.
Okay, could be because when cussing is for a guy, the cussing will be much stronger than this, right? But anyhow, this is just potentially. There is no definite answer because it depends on the background and it depends on the context. It depends on the body language and other gestures as well. But at least based on this, tag question is frequently used by female. Guys don't use it very often. And that's why it's going to be interesting that for those of us who are transgender, they are not girls, they are not guys. The transgender, what do? They might use a lot of tag question to express their own identity, right? Oh, the cake is very lovely, isn't it? Right? Okay. And kind of hedging is a hedging device. Girls hedge all the time. Girls hedge all the time. Are you hungry? Sort of. Is the cake delicious? Kind of, right? So guys don't do this. Okay, but this is just to indicate that, yes, the conclusion is female and male language is not the same, right? How about this one? Right. My mom makes awesome sandwich. What do you think? Any idea?
What do you think? It's spoken by a girl, right? Because I see the word awesome, right? It's quite be the emotional sound, like I said.
Yeah. Good job. Yes, you are coming through because of the word awesome here. Guys don't use this kind of word. Guy would say, delicious sandwich, a good sandwich, but guys would say awesome because this is adjective can be very expressive by girls, usually, not guys. Okay, good job. How about the next one? Got around later, dude.
Gotta and dude, professor. As you said, male normally, guys normally use like an incomplete sentence. This without a subject, and the word dude, always commonly used among guys.
Thank you, Kun Manchana. Yeah, Good. And he is very right. Incomplete sentences, non-standard language, non-standard, like gotta run means I got to run, right? Later do it, no subject, right? So definitely, Kumachana, right, it's a guy. Okay, the next one, how was the concert last night? This one is so plain. But you know what, very likely,
It's
I think it's hard to say.
a girl, a
Hmm?
female. Because she loves to use like WH question, right?
Mhm. I mean, this one is hard. How was the concert like that? But because it was so, like everything is correct and it's complete sentences. So I think very likely it would be by a female. Okay. Next, I'm so sorry. I couldn't quite hear you just then. What did you say? This one. This one is clear. This one is clear.
Maybe it's like the girls tend to explain more, but guys don't like to explain. They always try to avoid. Yeah.
Yeah. You can see that these three sentences, right, combine with only one meaning, that say it again, I don't hear you. But the girl bothers to say three sentences, just, over apologizing. I would say over apologizing. I'm so sorry. I couldn't hear you just then. What did you say? So this is typical girl thing, right? Okay, how about the last one? I'm not going to read it. What is it? Who is going to be a likely speaker? It's clear.
Yes, it's
Right? It's a guy because cussing word, right? Okay. Okay. Now, based on you can see that when you use the language, then you might want to share with your students that this is the dialogue, and the dialogue that you use in class needs to indicate the status clearly: girl or boy, subordinate or superior. Otherwise, they will use English like a robot. See, if you don't say that, you don't talk like that to a teacher, and you don't talk like that to your friends. So the language can vary a lot. It depends on the situation and other social factors. Now let's move on to the next one, right? Now, once we know that English is a very sexist language, right? And we try our best, to eliminate the bias, right? Because right now people are very sensitive to gender more than before, especially in the present decade. And that's why whatever you write, what you say can hurt someone feeling badly, especially when you are working in the society that has many genders involved. So I want you to be able to fix the language, right? That how can you make it better? So these are examples of bad language. Why? Because each one of them is gender bias, right? Let's take a look at the first one. To a woman who possesses the necessary qualification, nursing offers a life of unusual interest and usefulness. She will have limitless opportunities to improve herself and help others, right? Now we know that we talk about the career called nurse and nursing. Well, originally we know that nurses were female originally, but right now, well, nurses don't include only female. Especially in America, you see that there are many guys who are nurses, right? And that's why definitely this sentence is biased. So how about number 2? Each laboratory assistant must perform the experiment at least once before he teaches it to the class. Is this sentence biased? Is this sentence biased?
Yes, Professor. From the word he.
Very good. Now you are sensitive to the language bias. Yes, this sentence is biased because the word he used he to refer to laboratory assistant, which is really biased. Number 3, the priest asked, are you ready to love and honor each other as man and wife for the rest of your lives? Is it biased? Of course, it is bias. But where does the bias take place?
Man and
And
wife.
then wife.
Right. See, that is not equal at all. Man and wife. Of course, everyone is a man, but man here is really biased because if you have a wife, the other one shouldn't be a man. Okay. How about next, number 4? No matter how busy he is, a pilot should take the time to thank the stewardess at the end of every flight. Definitely it's biased, but where does the bias take place?
He is. right?
Stewardesses.
Okay, he is one. What else? What else?
Stewardesses.
Yeah,
Stewardess.
right, stewardess, right? Because we know that in one flight, there might be some guys and girls as stewardess. So this is very biased. The last one, my grandparents' day consisting of waiting by the window for someone to come up the walk, whether friend, mailman, or salesman. Yep, it's biased, but where does the bias take place?
Mailman.
and salesman.
Now you see that the words that end with man can be very biased because man excludes feminine. So these 5 instances, what I want you to do is, read these sentences and fix them as a language teacher that you know how to fix them. So to show you as an example, the first one, the top one is the one which is biased. And the second one is the one that revise and eradicating the bias, right? A woman, I changed to people because people is not gender biased. She becomes they, herself becomes themselves. That's how I fix the language. So number 1 has been done for you. So why don't you do the rest? And I will come back to you with the answers. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. You could do the first 4. This one, and this one. And we have another minimum about 10. Do the rest. Finish them all, huh? Think about the replacement,นะคะ, that you cannot create a new word,นะคะ. You cannot create a new word.
Repertory. 8.
Let's focus on the first 4 first. Okay, the first 4 items,ค่ะ. I guess you are done, right? Are you done with 4 questions? Okay, now let's take a look at the answer. I'm sure this is going to be easy. Just a cup of tea for you. Okay. Right. See what happens here? To those people who possess, right, nursing offers, right, to improve themselves, I think you can check the answers by yourself. Oh, this is. Now, as you can see that it doesn't mean there is only one possibility. There is more than one solution to the problem. For example, number 2, this is what I changed. Each laboratory assistant must perform the experiment at least once before teaching it to the class. I'm sure that this is not what you got, right? But this is only one way, and your way is, what do you do then? You change into a plural, right?
That's right.
That's a very easy one, right? Everyone is smiling. That's an easy way to play the game. But this is more complicated because I combine it before teaching it. And that's why I don't need the subject here, right? Number 3, the priest asked, are you ready to love and honor each other as husband and wife for the rest of your lives? Number 4, no matter how busy the pilots are, they should take the time to thank the flight attendants at the end of every flight. The last one is more tricky. My grandparents' day consists of wedding, blah, 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 with a friend. Now look at here, right? Postman doesn't exist anymore because we have a lot of postmen in America. How about in China? There are a lot of women who are doing this, right? In China, or not at all?
Yeah, now more and more.
Yeah, Thailand, they are not, but we have many carriers. So the word is mail carrier now instead of postman. And as I said, salesperson, this is the one we use, is salesman, right? Because right now there are many salespersons who are female. Now look at the next. Have you done this? You haven't done this then. Right, so please work on this then. 5 more sentences. Oh, this is the answers, right? I have to go back. Okay, I guess you're done. So let's see the answers then. Oops, sorry, right. See? This is the answer? Sure. Right? The lawyer considered that her client was no Mother Teresa. No, this is not right. Sorry, I screwed up this part. This is not the answer, right? Sorry. Okay, how do you fix that then? คุณออนสิริคะ
female
number one.
cut please cut the word female right
Okay. But then that doesn't solve the problem. The lawyer, what do you need to do then? Because you have still her client.
For me, Professor, I add S with the lawyers. Then we gonna use their client instead of her.
Exactly. You can say the lawyers consider that their client was no Mother Teresa, right? Okay. Next card. In some cases, if your insurance has been slow in paying and your doctor has his lab work done away from his office, I think it's easier to do what? How do you fix it?
Doctors have their lab and blah 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 from their office. Okay, that's it.
Right, that's it.
Oh,
right.
Okay, and then Professor ask them to tell you exactly the last sentence of this item.
Right. So normally you need to do something like grammatical, and a few times you need some lexical variations to help you fix the problems, right? But anyway, how about the last one? The shift from animal and muscle power to machine power was a major achievement for man. This one is really biased because it's not only for man, but for whom?
everyone
For everyone, right?
Human.
Or for humanity, right? So both are correct. Was a major achievement for humanity. So now you can see that there are many ways to fix it. So far, you know that there are some grammatical devices that can help, or lexical devices. And sometimes if you can change the structure from active voice to passive voice, that will help as well. So these are the strategies that we use to improve our language in order not to be biased. Okay? I'm not going to show them all. Okay, let's move on to the next topic then. Right. This one. Now, please read the following sentence. You have to read it right away before you thinking too much about this. Okay, next card. A woman, no, you got to read, not I. You got to read it. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3.
A woman without her man is nothing.
It's nothing.
When you say a woman without her man is nothing, you are promoting masculinity and you are downgrading femininity, right? Because you say a woman without her man is nothing. No. Bibi would say a woman without her man is
nothing.
See, Wang Yi is so happy. Now you see that the language can be quite, ambiguous, and the way you read can be very misleading. So I would say a woman without her man is nothing. So I pause. A woman without her man is nothing. So there are 3 chunks, right? But if you say a woman without her man is nothing, that means something else. Okay, so that's really funny about language, right? Now let's move on to the last one that I asked. Take a look about APA reference guide, because you are all here doctoral degree student, and one day you have to write your dissertation. The APA 7 version was announced not long ago, and it was really shocking to the world. What happened to this version? Anyone knows? I'm not going to answer this question to you because I'm going to let you exploit the 7 version of APA yourself. And there is one change that they make in order to avoid gender bias. I'm not very happy with that then. I'm not happy at all. So I try to use some other strategies to avoid that one. I'm not going to tell you what it is. So one day when you sit down and write your decision, you will think of me and how to avoid gender bias. Okay. Now, next one. So when we talk about the research topics on this, then, right, I think it's very interesting right now that people need to explore what exactly what the transgender voice is. We know that if you use a lot of tag questions, those sentences are likely to be pronounced or produced by female. But how could transgender make their voice heard? They cannot be too feminine because they are not feminine. They cannot be too masculine because they are not masculine. So these, people, they have their own way of creating a language in such a way that people know right away that it's not male, it's not female, but it's a transgender. I don't know whether Wang Yili is familiar with Thai people, but Thai people who are transgender, they have their own mechanisms, right? For example, กรุบกริบหน่อยอะค่ะกรุบกริบนะคะกรุบกริบนะคะกรุบกริบ right? This is a, you know what, the person who says that normally is not straight because ladies don't do that, but oh อาจารย์มันก็กรุบกริบนะคะมันกรุบกริบค่ะนะคะเพราะฉะนั้น the language, they use the language in a certain way to express their own transgender identity. So it would be interesting that what is the process and how do they come up with that kind of language? Okay, the second one, the influence of language on gender differences. For example, when you want to buy a watch and you look at the advertisement, the advertisement of language for watches is the same or not? The language in the advertisements for female and male are not the same, right? Female wear watches to tell the time. You agree or what? When women, when they wear the watch, they have the watches on to go to the party. What is the function of the watch? To tell the time? Yes or no?
No, accessory.
No, accessory.
Yeah.
What is it for? It's for accessory.
Decoration.
Accessory is for like to indicate
Dress.
how luxurious you look, right? We don't use the watch to tell the time anymore because the function has changed now. It becomes, a piece of jewel that add values to the one who wears it. And that's why when people buy watch, female are looking for the watches not to tell the time. They don't care how accurate the time telling is. But for the guys, it's for time telling. It has to be accurate. It has to be water resistant, but girls are not interested in that. So I think it's interesting to analyze the advertising language and see how gender plays a part on particular items like watches. Okay. Now the linguistic practices. So what I said that, women like to exclaim like, oh my God, right? Okay. Is that the way still practiced nowadays? Is that still valid? That was the discovery about 30 years ago. How about women today? Do we still exclaim that much? เราอุทานบ่อยขนาดนั้นหรือเปล่า? Do we exclaim that much? Are we very expressive? Or maybe the women in that, top level who are, bosses, they don't do that anymore, right? Or the language, social variation about gender, the influence of language in racism expression. I think very interesting because actually in the Thai society, the transgender people are the ones who create new language to the world. They are very creative and they come up with something that we can't do. And once they do it, we follow in their footsteps and we use what they use. Is that true? I'm sure that the word Taj in Thai is not created by straight people, but they are developed or created by transgender people. And I think they are very smart and very creative, right? Okay. Next, television news, right? How about the news reporters? when they have to be in the situation, how did they conceal or cover or reveal their identity? Or gender controversy in modern image and evolution. So this is something for you to consider. They are a bit challenging, I have to admit. Now, anything about language and gender? Any comments? Any suggestions? Any discussion on this?
Professor, for me, from number one, that's transgender voice, and that you mentioned the word touch or any word that like kind of new word, right? But actually, just only simple or normal word like the word mẹ or mother in English, but for transgender can change their meaning in the positive way, like to call someone who they are respect or acknowledge.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true, you know, like แม่ก็คือแม่ right? That's transgender word, right? And we use แม่ it means like in sense of respect. ตัวแม่ค่ะตัวแม่มาแล้วตัวแม่แล้วทุกคนหลบตัวแม่มาแล้ว Yeah, I think that's interesting that when they try to introduce the new terms into the language, and that language is established somehow, and we follow what are the mechanisms, why they use the word แม่ not พี่ not พี่สาว not elder sister, but they use the word mother. Why? Because mother is more sacred, we respect them more, or because they are old, I don't know. So that's why the one who created them are very, you know, creative, and we need to know the mechanisms behind that so that we understand that language is really creative and the language evolves all the time, and that's very interesting. That's very interesting. I agree, but I don't have enough, you know, sources of data. Maybe Kun Vanchana has, but I don't, because you have to be a part of them. If you want to study transgender language, you've got to be one of them so that they can be accepted and they are ready to share the information. I don't think they share with us, you know, outside Chani, they don't like Chani, right? That's why it got to be someone in the circle who can do this. I can't.
But,
Okay.
but,
yeah, go ahead.
Yes, if we study or explore the English transgender voice with the Thai transgender, yeah, I think this might be interesting topic.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting because you are going to play with, you know, the cultural factor now that the transgender, Thai transgender and American transgender, what are the cultural factors? Do they behave in the same way, and do they create the language in the same way? I think that's interesting. That's interesting because, yeah, if you have the source of data, right, that would be interesting.
Okay, so I would like to share one example of the change of word, like nang. Now we can use nang for a man, right? Right? This is the example of the change of language. Nang.
Right. Yeah. And I know that the origin of nang comes from the transgender people as well.
Yes.
Yeah. At the beginning, my daughter used nang with me. I said, oh, nang ไม่ชอบอ่ะ ใครเป็นนาง mom นั่นแหละ แม่แหละ Don't use that to me. But you know, after years, I said, okay, I'm nang, because that's how my daughter referred to me. นางไม่ชอบอ่ะ นางคือใคร แม่นั่นแหละ See that? At the beginning, I reacted negatively, but then I said, oh, it's the way it works, right? For example, the word โคตร mom, oh, มันโคตร no, don't use that language, because when I was young, โคตร is forbidden. It's about the whole family. But nowadays, when they want to explain that, oh, it's very good. It's โคตรดีเลยแม่โคตรดีเลยอ่ะ. See that the language changes, you know.
Yes.
And I'm sure these are triggered by the transgender people, especially the word นาง ของคุณออนสิ clearly เลยค่ะ
Yes.
นางตัวดี
And we can use that nang like a you, right? Because nang can be like a meaning of you.
Yeah.
เช่น ไปถามนางหรือนางว่ายังไง So nang can be she or he
Third person.
or they, the third person. Yes, very good.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, interestingly, because in the old days we use the word nang with a short vowel, right? And nang has a negative connotation. Right away, nang tua di, nang, nang. But once you say nang with a longer vowel, that negative feeling is gone. It's gone, really. And we can take it, oh, นางไม่ชอบ นางไม่ไป instead of นาง. See that only the vowel lengthening makes things different. Yeah, good point ค่ะคุณวันสลิ good point นาง that's a good example.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Anything else? Right.
One more thing I
Yeah,
want to
go ahead.
share is about, have you heard about Lu, ภาษา Lu?
Yeah.
It's just only in transgender they used to communicate in their way, right?
Yeah. Lu language, you know, is originally took place from at the prison. You know the history. The origin is at the prison because these people were kept in prison, and that's why they want to get out of jail. So in order to get out of jail, they have to communicate with an outsider for help by using another language called Lu language, right? And the Lu language has become the language of the transgender. Why? Because they use among themselves and they can exclude us who are not belonging to that world. It's very interesting because one day I was on the van with a lot of passengers on the van, and then somebody answered the phone, and the person who spoke on the phone used at the beginning they talk about personal issues. And then that person noticed that everyone on the van paid attention to the conversation, which is very bad, but it's interesting because they were talking in the van. So finally, you know what that person do? She switched to the Lu language. And the moment she switched to the Lu language, Budsaba ตกงานเลยค่ะ I couldn't understand anything because I don't belong to that world. And that's why everyone on the van was looking at each other's face and said, man, we don't know what she's talking anymore because she switched to the Lu language. So that's interesting. But you know what? Lu language is structured and governed by grammar. It's not sporadic. It's not out of the blue. It's created based on the certain sets of rules. But you have to learn the rules, how to generate the Lu language. So it's governed. It's governed. It has rules. So you want to learn, you got to study the Lu language. I can't. I cannot flip my head like that. I can't. Okay. Anything else? Right. Now, that leads to the last topic for today. Okay. I think I might finish the class before time. The last one I want to mention is about language and academic style. The reason I chose this topic because I know that you are all PhD students, and one point in time, you have to sit down and write your dissertation, which is not going to be fun at all. Why? Why not fun? Because language style can vary a lot according to situations. But when you write your dissertation, the language is different from spoken language in many ways, right? Now, what are some of the examples then? Right? For example, you cannot say, in this dissertation, หนูอยากจะพูดไอ้นี่ค่ะ หนูอยากจะพูด หนูอยากจะศึกษา Can you write this? Can you say this? หนูอยากจะ Can you say that? No. Why? Because อยากจะ it's very colloquial. Or in other words, อยาก it's a spoken language. So when you write your dissertation, you have to switch your mode and you have to think about sociolinguistics, and you have to use only academic language. Why? One, who is going to read your dissertation? Not anyone from the street. The only one who read your dissertation are people in academia. In academia. That's why the language has to be elevated. Or in a sense, the language has to be a little bit formal. Number two, is it the written language or spoken language? It is written. And that's why written language has to follow the written language styles as well, right? What else? Publication. It will be published and it will be kept on shelf in the library, not in the market. And therefore, the language needs to be formal. Based on these examples or reasons, then writing academic, writing, it could be quite a challenge. Okay. Now, before that, then you need to know the distinction between, for example, if you are in academic mode right now, okay, in academic mode. So these are the questions for you. Number one, recently, nurses have had to take extra precautions like double latex gloves to protect themselves from. There are 4 choices for you. These 4 choices are grammatically correct. Nothing wrong with that then. What matters is the style. Okay. So I want you to pick one answer.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Okay.
4.
New infections.
Okay, who goes for number 1? Nobody. Who goes for number 2? Nobody. Who goes for number 3? Nobody. Everyone goes for number 4? Really? Then you are in big trouble when you have to sit down and write your dissertations.
Oh no.
Why? Number 1, the words sick and ill are quite similar.
Yes.
But stylistically, they are very different. I'm sure that you use the word sick all the time, right? Right? Oh, I eat sometimes for 3 days in a row now. I'm so sick of it. I watched this show many times already. I'm sick of this show. See how informal the word is. Therefore, when you write a dissertation, informal word like sick is not okay. Ill is more appropriate in that case. Now, hospital patients, that's not what you want. It's too specific, right? Dangerous new infections. This is not very academic. Why? Because the word dangerous. Okay, dangerous is very subjective. Dangerous to Vanchana might not be dangerous to Kun Rosamon. Dangerous to BB might not be dangerous to Kun Patanan. That's why dangerous is a very objective word. So in academic writing, we try to be objective, not subjective. Therefore, the best answer for this one is the word the ill. See? Now, implication is ill is a very formal word and people don't use it very often. Ill and sick are the same, but sick is informal and ill is more formal. Okay, number 1. Now, let's move on to number 2. Hopefully, you will get it right this time. Okay, go ahead. Think carefully now because we are dealing with stylistic variation.
B.
Okay, who goes for 1? Nobody? Who
Problem.
goes for 2?
2.
Hey, Professor.
Major
Okay.
problem.
Who goes for 3? Nobody. And who goes for 4? Good. Now you see that once I alert you of being careful how to select the language, you are really well done. Right. Number 1, what makes it informal?
Deal.
Deal.
Deal, right? Because deal is a very, very informal, right? Okay, how about lunch at 7? Deal. People use it all the time. So deal is not formal enough, right? Number 2 is the correct answer. Number 3, people speak it all the time. We use this one in spoken language. Oh, what do you like? I like that thing. What do you like? I like that. I don't like that thing, right? We use the word thing. So now you know that you're not supposed to use the word thing in your dissertation at all. What is the next thing you have to know is that bad, right? Bad is not a word used in your dissertation. You can say that previous studies are bad. No, you have to say previous studies are flawed. Previous studies have limitations. Yes, but you cannot say previous studies are bad. Okay, clear? Right. Thing is a very informal tool. Big and small. How big is big? When I say big, big for BB might be small for Wancha. Big for BB might be small for Wang Yili, right? So that's why too subjective. So the problem is major, right? Major is the same as big, but you know what? We don't talk about being subjective. We say major. It's one of the major problems, not big problems. So I hope you will remember this, and when you sit down and write your dissertation, you know how to use this in your dissertation to make it really proper. Okay, the next one. You're getting better, huh? Okay.
B boy.
Okay, anyone
American,
goes
American.
for one? One? Nope, nobody. Two? Yes, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Three? Nobody. Four? Nobody. Now explain to me then why you want to go for two, not 1, 3, 4. Why? There must be a reason for that.
Nico is spoken language. It's very
It's not
informal.
polite
And
language.
blacks also.
Yeah,
People
and
blacks
black also. Yes, it's
Right. Okay. Good that you are being sensitive to the language. Negroes and blacks, you know, remind us of the history of the slaves in Africa. Right? The blacks and Negroes. And that's why when you go to America, these two words are prohibited because it means that you are being something like racial discrimination. You're not supposed to. And that's why we call the black people in America, we call them African American. Okay, so the key word is African American. Now, what is the difference between convicts and inmates? Right? Inmates is very, you know, has a very bad connotation. Inmates means they are imprisoned, right? I mean, they are already sentenced to be in prison. But convicts, I mean, this somehow, they may be during the process of investigation and the final outcome is not yet. So this one is more proper in that sense, because this one, imagine people behind the bars, which is, you know, very derogatory one. Okay, good. Getting better, right? Next card. Now, we talk about academic language here. I try to avoid this one. Okay, move over here. When we talk about academic language, we know that it's very formal. I want you to match this one, right? These are the 6 common rules for academic language. Let's take a look at rule number 1. And I'm sure you have been working on this when you sit down and write your papers or dissertation. According to the APA, they say that for numbers 1 to 10, you cannot write the number. You got to spell the words and write the actual words. Have you heard this before? Everyone looks quiet. Have you heard this before? So I guess you don't know this, right? Okay, so let's start, you know, coming to my academic world. If you write your dissertation or your report or your research report, when you say, oh, there are 5 students or 5 students took the test, you're not supposed to write number 5. You cannot write number 5. You have to write the actual words like F-I-V-E. You got it?
Yes, got it.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, when can you write the numbers? When? When?
In front of now.
Start from
Statistics.
In front of now, like 5 cats, 5 dogs, 5 students.
No, because in this case, look at this then. Number one, rule number
Say-
one. For numbers 1 to 10, you not
Sorry.
use the letters. You have to use the actual words. So when can you use the numbers? When the numbers is greater than 10.
11. You start from
Right.
11.
So from 11, you can
Yes.
use the letters now. Okay, you can use the numbers. Got it? That's okay. You haven't written anything yet. Next, number 2. If it's possible, don't use simple sentences. What does it mean, simple sentence? I have 3 dogs. My dogs are nice. They like eating fish. See that? This is called simple sentences. I have 3 dogs. My dogs are nice. They like fish. No, because in your dissertation, you can combine them and make it into a complex sentence. Sounds better there, because otherwise it's very choppy, dung, 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 like that. Okay, so that's rule number 2. Next, rule number 3, phrasal verbs. What does it mean, phrasal verb? Can you give me an example of phrasal verb?
Look after.
Okay, look after, look into,
Yeah.
right? Take after. So phrasal verb, or another we call 2-word verbs, right? Or 2-word verbs. So why? They say avoid phrasal verbs, because phrasal verbs sound informal. Okay? For example, look into, don't use look into. We use the word what? Investigate or examine instead.
Let's see.
So you see that? Once you use, these words, your language is elevated to be more academic. So this study aims to examine. This study aims to investigate. You don't want to use phrasal verbs, okay? Now, actually, there are many research papers that they can include phrasal verbs as well. So it's not really a rule that you cannot do it, but if you can, try to avoid. That's why they use the word avoid if you can, okay? Number 4, this is a rule. Number 4 is a rule. Do not use contracted word forms. Now, what does it mean by contracted word form? ก็คือ contractions. Don't use contractions. ตัวย่อ เช่น it's ไม่ได้ค่ะ ต้องเป็น it is นะคะ เพราะฉะนั้น contractions are not possible. This is the rule. Number 3 is not a rule, but number 4 is the rule. Next ค่ะ academic language has to be precise. And that's why use precise language and avoid vagueness. นะคะ without ambiguity. If you can, please avoid it. And the last one, avoid informal and idiomatic language. For example, from the bottom of my heart. These are called idioms, right? I work 24 hours around the clock. That's an idiom. Oh, he's so poor, he couldn't make ends meet. That's an idiom. So idioms are not acceptable in academic language. Okay, having learned these 6 rules, I want you to match them. They're on the left side and the right side. Will you please match them?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. I'll give you 3 minutes on this.
เสร็จแล้ว
You're so proud of your accomplishment,นะคะ. So what is number 1? The answer is
D.
right. Number 1, the
D.
answer is
It's D.
D
Professor.
dog.
but number 2.
E.
Number
Right.
2, E.
Number 2.
Avoid overuse.
Avoid the overuse of simple sentences. Very good. How about number 3? Avoid phrasal verbs. What is it?
Such
A.
as go up and talk about.
Now, give me then. If you don't want to use go up, what would be a word to replace go up? After the test, the scores went up. What would be a good word to replace the word
Increase.
Increase.
Increase. Go down.
Decrease.
Decrease.
Talk about.
Mention.
Talk about.
Discuss.
Yeah, discuss, right? Know all the vocabulary. So if it's possible, avoid these, phrasal verbs, right? Okay, and next number 4, what is the answer?
C.
Right. These are examples of contractions. Remember, contractions are not possible at all. Don't even use it. Number 5, what is it?
F.
Right. Using numbers and statistics where possible, right? Don't say some students, not say 5 students, 6 students, or 2 students. Don't say 5, some, okay? And the last one, avoid informal and idiomatic language. What is it?
B.
Right. It's the only thing left, right? Use formal. Okay, good. So now the rest of the lecture will be on academic language. Why I chose this topic? Because I want you to be sensitive to the language used. I know the grammar, you can get it, but the way you write should be elevated enough because it's for academic purposes. Okay, any other questions at this point? Any other questions? I will let you take a break then, okay? So we'll come back and meet each other at 2:45. คุณมัทนันตามนั้นไหมคะ? Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so now it's 2:30, and then we are going to have a lesson for about 15 minutes. And let's come back at 2:45 to continue our special lecture by Professor Dr. Budsaba. Thank you.
Thank you. But if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask. Okay, see you in 15 minutes. Thank you. Guys tired? How you doing? How you guys doing? Still okay? Tired, sleepy, hungry?
Okay,
I'm
all right.
doing
So,
good.
You're doing
well,
good?
I'm okay ค่ะอาจารย์
so far so good ค่ะ
โอเค
I hope so. You know, that's why online teaching, it's really not really, anyway.
Yeah, so welcome back to the last session of the webinar. I hope all you are ready to start again. Now, may I invite the special lecturers to continue the lecture, please?
Okay, thank you. Right. So let's take a look at this, slide again. And you can see that we have two examples. The first one is informal, and I wouldn't say incorrect, but if I would say that I wouldn't recommend you using it. So this is the one you should go for. Let's take a look at the first one. We already mentioned this point, right? Contractions. As I say, it's a big no. You cannot have contractions at all. So let's take a look, right? The storm wasn't severe. The storm was not severe. That's easy. Now, the next one, phrasal verb. What is the phrasal verb here? What is the phrasal verb?
Pull out.
What is an example?
Pull out.
pull out
Pull out, right? Pull out. It's very colloquial, right? But you see that more than that is then the company intends to exit the deal. Now, you see that once in Thai is yak. And yak, it's a very bad word to use,นะคะ? So don't use คำว่า yak งานนี้อยากไม่ต้องค่ะ This study once ไม่ได้ต้องเป็น intends to exit the deal, pull out, right? Okay. Next, slang.
kids
Slang terms are very informal. So the word here, as put right, kids, right? You can say it in spoken language, but when you write, you have to say children should exercise more. Clear? Right. Next one is called acronyms. What does it mean by acronyms? What is an example of acronyms here?
needs
No.
ASAP. As soon as possible.
So ASAP is acronym. Now, what does it mean? What is acronym then? Acronym is the language phenomenon when you have this phrase and you use the first letter as soon as possible. You have the first letter of A, S, A, P, and put them together, boom, that's called acronym. So actually the word COVID is also an acronym. Come from corona, virus, disease, right? COVID. So there are many acronyms here. Now, this rule is you got to be very careful with this, right? This one says that acronyms are not possible, but I would say that in our dissertation, you will have a lot of acronyms, right? The most common one is what? ELT, because that's your program. ELT is an acronym. So can you use it? The answer is yes, you can. You can use it only and only if you establish first that ELT in parentheses stands for English language teaching. So you have to mention it the very first time you use. And then after that, after you establish it, you can use the acronyms throughout your dissertation. This rule works for dissertation or published research articles. You have to use it once as a full form, and once you establish it, you can use the acronyms forever. And because in our field, there are many acronyms, like, for example, ELG, English as a lingua franca, EIL, English as an international language. You cannot assume that everyone knows your acronyms. You have to establish first, and for the rest, you are okay. Got it? Right. Now, the next one, cliche. Cliche means that you say it, but it has no meaning. It has no meaning. It's called a cliche. Now, the example of this one is, it goes without saying. It goes without saying that. See that? 5 words, it goes without saying. It's a cliche. it means nothing at all, right? That's why in academic writing, you don't have to say anything at all, okay, without using the cliche because it's not meaningful at all. Okay, the next one is very problematic, the use of personal pronouns. Nowadays, there are many young researchers who are so arrogant of their studies, and they're so proud of their studies. That's why they use I, and I all the time. Now, I don't do that. But in some disciplines that it's getting common now, but I don't do that. Why? I don't think I'm big enough. Normally, I should be someone who is very, very famous, world internationally known like that. So in your cases, as a PhD student, I would not recommend you using I in your dissertation at all. Unless it's your great contribution. For example, you discover the medicine to cure cancer. If you have discovered that, go ahead, I discovered the medicine to cure cancer, go ahead. But I don't think that will happen in our field. So in that case, don't try to use I because it's going to be quite dangerous for you. Because they will say, who are you, by the way? And they will say, oh, I am PhD student. Don't even talk about yourself because you don't have that kind of authority yet, okay? Now, if I shouldn't be used, so as you. Why you is not supposed to be used in academic language. Why? Because it's not spoken language. You say, I talking to you, right? In this case, I is, in the background, and so as you as well. We're not talking about any particular person in front of you. So if it's possible, don't use you at all. Because otherwise it sounds very arrogant and it sounds, like very pedantic. And it's like you are very powerful. Okay, so in this sentence, you have many course options at university. No, don't do that. Okay. Next one is rhetorical question. What is rhetorical question? What is rhetorical question? It is a question, right? But it is a question that doesn't require or elicit any answer. Don't try to answer at all because it's rhetorical question. For example, suppose I'm doing a TED talk. I'm giving a TED talk. I say, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? Now, answerก็ตอบว่า no, I don't know. That's it. What I'm doing here, I'm doing something called rhetorical question. You know what? I'm not asking. It's the question that I use to call attention only. So don't try to answer. So this one, why are vaccines a controversial issue? You want to say that vaccines are controversial, right? So say it, but don't use the question. Okay, you can use a question in, lecture or presentation, but not in academic writing. Next, this is the one which is a very delicate one, judgmental or emotive language. As I said, academic writing has to be very objective. And that's why when you use your emotions, it makes the whole thing sound so subjective. What are some subjective words? Chen, oh, you look beautiful, right? The word beautiful is very subjective because beautiful in my standard might be one way, but kun Vanchana, beautiful might mean another meaning. That's why beautiful is not the word to be used in academic language. And so are the words good and bad. They are all subjective, but my good is your bad, my bad is your good. We don't know what exactly mean. So in this one, for example, I believe that. What is the problem word there?
Fantastic.
What is the problem? I believe. Because in academic writing, I don't care what you believe. I care what you found. Therefore, when you say, I believe, who are you? I don't care who you are. I don't want to hear what you believe. I don't care. The second one, a fantastic development. you might feel inclined to use that word. Nope. Fantastic, right? Oh, it's a painful. No, you don't do that. So what is the suggestion then? Evidence shows. See that? Now it becomes objective. Why? Because I said it because it's based on the evidence. Objective. Good. A very positive development. The word positive is frequently used in academic language. So you don't say good, but you say positive. And you don't say bad, but you use what? Tell me.
Negative.
Poor.
Why? Negative, right?
Oh,
For
yes.
example, this has a positive impact. It means good. This has a negative impact. It means bad. I know that Thai people are not in the habit of using these words at all. And that's why academic writing needs to be trained, right? See that? A very positive, oh, it's good then, right? And the last one, this is going to happen to young researchers like you guys. When you try to say something very absolute. For example, Germans are punctual. You are asking for trouble. Because it's impossible that all Germans are punctual. There must be some who are not punctual. Therefore, you change to Germans tend to be punctual. รอดค่ะ Now, what is it here? This is the one I mentioned this morning. เราเรียกตัวนี้ว่าอะไรคะ What do we call this device? Tend to. I mentioned it this morning. I mentioned it this morning. This is called hedging. Remember hedging? Hedging. H-E-D-G-I-N-E. Hedging devices. Hedging devices are very good and very beneficial in academic language. Can you give me some more examples of hedging devices? Tend to is the only one. There are about 20 more. Can you give more examples?
Kind of.
Pardon? Kind of?
Sort of, slightly.
When you use kind of and sort of, they are hedging, but they are too colloquial.
Oh.
They are too colloquial, so you cannot use it. For example, you can say Germans tend to be punctual. Germans seem to be punctual. Germans appear to be punctual. Okay?
Yes.
Or you can say that it's possible that Germans are punctual. So what is the hedging there? It's possible.
And
right?
use like investigate, right? Can I?
No. Investigate is for phrasal verbs. So you can say that potentially, this is the answer. Potentially is the hedging.
Potentially.
It's likely that, likely it's a hedging. So there are many hedging devices in academic language because we don't want you to use absolute statements because you are in danger of being attacked. โดนแน่ค่ะ โดนแน่ Okay, clear? So I don't know how much you know about hedging devices, but they are very frequent, like tend to, possibly, potential, possible, likely. These are all hedging devices. It can be a verb, it can be adjective, it can like tentative, it can be adverb. All of these are hedging devices. Clear?
Yes.
Now, any questions on this? So you see that academic writing dissertation is a challenge, not because of the content only, but also the language. And that's why we have research articles in order to publish in journals, academic journals, not อะไรคะในตัวตูน not ในอะไรคะวารสารที่ว่าในการตัดผมอะที่มันไม่มีแล้วอะ See that? Because these are published in journal articles. That's why the language is going to be very different. Okay? Any questions on this? ครูสร้างครูสมยังอ่านกันเหรอคะ
Yes.
Okay. Any questions on this?
No.
Now let's move on to the last sentence here. Look at this sentence, which reads, at the end of the day, we believe this technology definitely represents an amazing opportunity. This is a big no-no, right? What's wrong with this?
The word
First of all,
believe.
Personal
we-
pronouns.
Okay, one person says believe, right? Because I said, no, you cannot be judgmental. Okay, good. What else?
At the
Oh,
end
now
of the day,
we, the word we.
Okay, at the end of the day, that's a bit too dramatic. มันจะลิเกไปหน่อยไหมคะ right? At the end of the day, no, we don't do that. Okay, what else?
Amazing.
เมื่อกี้คุณพูดว่าอะไรคะ we, right? If
We.
you say we believe, I mean, you believe, but I don't believe. So don't try to use the pronouns there. Okay, what else?
amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. Why not amazing? Because it is an,
Dramatics, right?
yeah, it's an
Emotional.
emotive
Emotive
language,
language.
right? What else?
Definitely.
Definitely. Why? Because
Absolute.
definitely is an absolute statement.
Absolute statement.
See, at the first glance, you say, oh, Ajahn, this sentence is nice. Ka. At the end of the day, we believe this technology definitely represents an amazing technology. But after you analyze, you see that there's nothing left about this sentence at all. It has to be fixed in order to be fit, to fit in academic writing language. Okay, so hopefully you learn enough from this. The next one. Right? This is the answer. At the end of the day, we emotive language like believe, amazing, and definite. The next one is an exercise. Okay. I gave you about 10 words here, right? Which are quit, get, good, bad, help, let, enough, look for, find out, talk about.
Yes.
These are the ones that I said, or as it said, the material said, don't use them in your academic writing. So I want you to give me some alternatives. If you don't want to use the word quit, what are some examples that you can replace?
Resign.
I want you to find at least 2 answers for each item. I will let you have, I will give you 5 minutes or 3 minutes on this. At least 2, at least 2. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
At least 2 words for each one.
Yes.
Okay. You done?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, before we talk about the answers, let's talk about how do you use these words in context in your daily life then, right? For example, quit. Give me a sentence using quit. Give me a sentence, please. Normally, I quit, right?
I quit a
I
job.
quit smoking. I quit.
Good job.
So you can see that you don't realize that when you use the word quit, normally it's in an informal context. I quit smoking. I quit. The boss says something bad about me there. I quit. Bye, right? So you see that the word quit is really informal. The second word, get. Oh, we overuse the word get all the time, right? I got it. I got it. I got it, right? We use get, overuse it. And when people use it, right, they carry on into academic writing as well. Good. When you do a dissertation, you say, oh, the study is good. No, what does it mean by the study is good? No, the study is bad. What do you mean by study is bad? You need to be more descriptive, right? Using another adjective to describe how bad it is. Help. Well, help is a very common word and we use it all the time. But we know that help can be replaced by many other words as well. Let is also very common, very, very common. Enough, look out, find out, and talk about. These are phrasal verbs. So, okay, tell me then, what are the answers for quit? Anyone that you have in mind?
Can I try?
Sure.
The first one, resign and leave.
Okay, resign. Okay, resign and leave.
Leave.
Okay. Now, it depends on the context, right? But I'm sure that people will come up with different answers. Any other words? How about others?
Expire.
Quit also can mean cease.
Cease, right? Okay, C-E-A-S-E.
Yeah.
C-E-A-S-E. That's a very good word. C-E-A-S-E, cease. Okay, what else? I want everyone to write down the answers so that now when you sit down and write your dissertation, you have this page on the wall and said, don't use quit, don't use get because BB says so. What else? That's it?
Step down. Step down.
Step down. You see that once you use step down, you use phrasal verb. Right?
Depart.
And we try not to use phrasal verbs.
Yes, thank you.
Right? That's okay. Now let's move on to the word get. What are the answers?
Mine.
Anyone?
Gain.
Gain. What else?
Obtain.
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 What
Acquire.
else?
Acquire.
Acquire.
Acquire. Ah, see, your language has been elevated to be Ph.D. now. Not get, but obtain, acquire. Okay, good. How about good?
Efficient.
Appropriate.
Useful.
Appropriate, efficient, beneficial.
Useful.
Okay.
Excellent.
Suitable.
Excellent. Excellent.
Positive.
I would hesitate a little bit to use excellent. I think excellent is too close to good. Okay. How about bad?
Bad.
Poor.
Poor.
Poor, but poor.
Low.
Okay. Poor. Okay. What else?
Negative.
Negative.
Awful.
Low.
Awful. Well, the word awful is not good because awful is very emotive language, right? Remember?
Yes.
Oh, you look awful. You look awesome. So awful is not a good word for academic language. Okay, help.
Assist.
Assist.
Support.
Encourage.
Support.
Encourage. Okay, could be. Could be. Okay, next let.
Permit.
Allow.
Permit.
Allow.
Permit.
Permit. Okay. 42. Enough. How about that?
Sufficient.
Adequate.
Sufficient. What else?
Effectual.
Adequate.
Adequate, okay.
Competent.
Sufficient, adequate. Look out, as I said, this is a no-no because it's a phrasal verb. What does it mean, look out?
Search.
Search, right? Find out.
Seek.
Discover.
Discovered. Okay. How about talk about?
Discuss.
Discuss.
Discuss. Only one word?
Argue.
Argue. Okay.
Examine.
So at least you see that the list is longer now because you know that these are the informal words. So this is my list. See? Quit, resign, as you said, leave, but also abandoned, right? Right? And also suspend, right? For example, he was suspended from the program because he didn't come and take the class, so he was suspended from the program. Get, obtain, you say that, acquire, also secure, right? Right? The tools need to be secure. The fund needs to be secured, right? And I use passive voice as well. Good, suitable, beneficial, or useful. Bad, poor, as you said, unhealthy, critical, or serious. Help, assist, aid, relieve, and support. I think these words, you all know the words, but when you use it, you don't use it because they are not active vocabulary. It's quite a shame that you know so much, but when you sit down and write, you write only, basic vocabulary. Next card, let, allow, permit, authorize. See, that's a very good one. Enough, sufficient, ample, that's a good word, and adequate. Look out, seek, pursue, right? I went to America to pursue my doctoral degree, pursue, right? Next, find out, discover, learn, unearth, reveal. And the last one, talk about, discuss, examine, and debate. See? So I'm sure that, you have this list, you will see that, now you can write better, approaching to academic writing. There are many, many more words that you can find, and I'm sure you can find more when you read research articles published in distinguished and, like prestigious journals. You got not only content, but also the model of the language for publication. Now the next one, right? Actually, I plan to do the pair work, but it doesn't work now. Look at this paragraph then, right? I want you to do work on paragraph, on each paragraph. Let's focus on paragraph 1. Read it and I will ask you what you think about it. Please read. And circle the mistakes that made and against what I just told you not to do for academic writing. Just only paragraph 1. Okay? Okay. I guess you finished reading. And based on the rules we just covered, right, that you are not supposed to do certain things when you write when you do academic writing. So again, read the paragraph again, only paragraph 1, and circles the ones that you think it's not correct for academic writing. Just circle in your on your handout. Okay. Now you have circled something, and actually many things will circle, right? What is the first one? Anything on the first line? On the first line, which is not right.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Terrible, very good. Terrible is a very informal word, terrible. You cannot say, oh, my students are terrible. No, you can say that my student scores are not quite satisfactory. See that? I said my student scores are not satisfactory. You cannot say my student scores are terrible because it's a spoken language. What else? Okay, line 2.
Talk about.
Okay, line 2. Talk about. Is that in line 2? Talk about.
20%, 20%, 20.
10 times and 40 years.
The number.
I think for this one, 40 years in that case, 40
Okay.
years should be spelled out. Even though it can be, this one is okay too, but I think because 40 years, it's a short word, F-O-R-T-Y. It is much nicer to write it in letters, 40 years. What else? Line 2?
20%.
Nothing, right?
20%.
Oh, line 3?
10 times.
10.
Jump up.
Yeah.
Sum up, yes.
Sum up.
Good. Jumped up. It's a phrasal verb. And you know how, I will ask you for the replacement later. Okay. What else? Line 4.
Talk about.
About.
Talk about. What else?
Fix.
This has in.
Fix. Fix and bring for the line 4. Because
fix.
Bring in is the first
in-
one.
informal language.
Bring in.
Bring
Bring in.
in.
That's a problem because bring in is a phrasal verb, right? Okay.
In
How
my
about line
opinion.
5?
In my
In my
opinion.
opinion.
Very good, because this is a sort of, very academic, and we don't know who you are, so you better not say, in my opinion. Okay, so now you see that the first time you read the paragraph, and you think, oh, it sounds good, it reads well, but actually for academic writing, you need to improve a lot. So now let's work on paragraph 2. Only paragraph 2, only. Circle the mistakes that need to be fixed.
How will be so?
How will this be so?
The question.
Yes, how will this be so?
Just do the whole paragraph first, and then I will ask you to tell me the answers later. Thank you.
Yeah, don't. That's get.
We don't. Do not.
Okay, in paragraph 2, line 1, what is the problem?
That's.
That's.
We
That's okay. Something
Contraction.
else?
To certain. Certainly.
Certainly, เห็นไหมคะ Certainly is too absolute. You are too,
Absolute
you are
statement.
overconfident, and that one should be gone. Okay, line 2.
How well this is
Question.
The question.
Question.
Will.
question.
The question.
Yeah.
Right? There is a, what do you call this again? What kind of question?
Rhetorical question.
Rhetorical question.
Rhetorical
Right,
question.
rhetorical question. But what else?
By some.
Yeah, by some
By
estimate.
some.
When you want to put show to the other and make to convince them, you cannot say by some estimate because it means that you are not sure. You have to do something more than that. Okay, how about line 3?
Line 3.
Although.
Although, I'm not sure about that then.
Also,
Okay, let's line 4. Line 4.
We.
Yeah, we.
Okay, we, good. What else?
Don't.
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 Maybe even many, right? Because many
Many.
is too absolute. Like many means what? 5 or 10 or 100. We don't know exactly many by what standard.
Some คือประโยค
Next card, line 5.
That
will.
That be.
As will be
Okay.
needed.
What else?
Will not.
Okay, let's, how about line 6 then?
But it also. It also.
will.
It's
It
also.
will. Okay, it will also. Okay.
Get.
Get. Okay.
Is allow okay here?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Allow, I think it's okay. I think it's okay at this point. Okay, now let's move on to paragraph 3.
Can be good. Bad.
Just circle them first and then I will ask you for the answers. Okay, in paragraph 3, the first line, anything on the first line? Nope,
To
right?
soften
Okay.
the move toward more.
Move.
Right, the move. I think that's a very problematic one. The move, right? The move. Because the move is too like, dancing or what? We don't know what move is that. So I think the word is going to be, needs to be replaced. How about line 2?
Good.
Good. What
Bad.
else?
Bad.
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 Okay, good. Line 3.
Put.
Line 3 is a put at risk. That's the whole expression, put at risk. And also what? The word good, that's good, nothing. Okay, what else? Line 4, for example,นะคะ. Line
Enough.
4,
Enough.
good. Line 5.
Bad.
Moreover. Moreover, right?
We'll think about that then. How about line 6?
Is result in.
As we all know.
There are many things going before that is to make ends meet. That's a very that's an idiomatic expression, to make ends meet, right? And also, as we all know, it is a cliche, right? Okay, right. Now, how about next paragraph then? We'll come back to this in detail. The last paragraph.
At the end of the day.
Okay, we already know that at the end of the day, it's gone. Okay, what else?
Great.
Great, exactly,
Great.
because great is a very subjective word. Okay, what else? It may.
Help.
May
May help.
also
Right, because we already know that there are many words that can replace help, right? Okay, what else?
deal.
Avoid.
Deal.
Oh, deal. Okay,ค่ะ, deal. So now you see that with your training, with some training, you become more sensitive to academic language. And you already highlighted places that need to be fixed. So here's the answer, and see what the changes have the impact on the academic writing in general, right? So the first one, let's go by paragraph then. The first paragraph, the word is currently. Now look at the word currently. That's my favorite word, okay? Sorry. The word currently. Now, if you think about using the word now, you better change, because currently is a very academic word. If you don't notice that, please do. So these are the words that I think that needs to be fixed, like terrible, 40 years, because it's a short word. I prefer to have it written in words. Okay? Jumped up. So check your answer then, right? Because these are the spots. At least there are some spots that needs to be fixed. Right? Okay. Paragraph 1, checked.
特别主观的词也不能用，绝对的词也不能用，就模糊的词，什么 some 啊，我之前老喜欢用 some， 也不能用 some 也不能用，什么 good 呀也不能用。
剩下用什么词代替
some 嘛，一些呀，你不能讲一些呀，到底几个？一些到底几个？many 呀，也不能用 many 到底多少？到底多少叫 many？ 动词短语这样也不能用，介词短语吧，介词短语也不能用，什么大白话也不能用，什么 cliche 就叫 as we all know 。
Oh, quiet please, girl.
Oh, sorry. 你关了。
Your microphone is on. So these are the places that we need to fix, okay? So I want to make sure that you highlight them first. But more than that is how to fix them. You know where to fix, but you don't know how to fix them. So the next step is fix them. The world is currently facing a terrible. Terrible is not good at all. How can you fix them?
Can we use serious?
Yeah, let's do it quietly first, and then I will let you share the answers. Do as much as you can, as if you are marking a student's homework. Everyone done with this, right? You're done the circle.